So, in order for us all to learn how to create what we want in life, we really have to understand the creation process, and we really have to understand how we're creating, essentially. So, I want to take you through step by step, just an explanation of how the creative process works and how human beings create. So, the goal would be to go from the effect of life to the actual cause. So until we understand that we've created our life experience, we cannot really become the cause because we just feel as though life is happening to us. We feel like all the circumstances that surround us in life are really something we have to respond to and not us actually creating it intentionally. So the goal is to get from the effect of life to the cause through this process of understanding really how it is we're creating all of it. So coming into the spiritual awakening is to understand that we are fractals of God itself. We are the embodiment of God. So basically, the Bible speaks of this as we are the temple of the Holy Spirit. We are actually embodying life itself within us. And in fact, all of life has the Creator within it. That means all of life has God streaming through it. So even though we are fractals, meaning individual fractions of the divine, we are still one in the divine mind. And our spiritual goal is to restore you to your true power, your true identity, your true oneness. And when we do that, that's when you really get to birth your unique divine expression or purpose. We recognize that each one of us came here for different reasons. We have different desires. We have different giftings. We have different beautiful gifts to give this world. This is our own unique divine expression. So in order to understand this more clearly, we have to understand that we are made in the image of God. This is what the Bible says. We are made in the image of God. And God itself is triune in nature. And we as human beings are also triune in nature. We are spirit, soul, and body. If we understand that we have the triune nature, there's spirit, which is the conscious mind, and there is soul, which is the subconscious mind, and then the effect and form, which is the body. So if you look at the image, spirit comes in at the top. So we are open at the top and spirit comes through our being, and spirit is the masculine essence of this triune nature. So spirit comes in and impregnates the soul, which is the feminine, and then outpictures the body. So the body in and of itself is neutral. It simply responds to the commands that are set in the subconscious or the soul. Spirit is the backing of all of that. It's the power. It's the power source. It's the engine, if you will. It's streaming down into the subconscious, and the subconscious is where all of our beliefs are stored. And based on our beliefs is the outpicturing of our life, is the circumstances of our life. Everything we create is based on those beliefs set in the subconscious mind. So here is where we understand that we have the choice. We have the freedom of choice. We can choose harmony or chaos. We can choose success or struggle. We can choose heaven or hell. We get to choose. We get to choose what we are living based on the beliefs that we have held in our subconscious mind. And in order to do that, there's a process of unfolding those beliefs. So you have the choice to align with the universal law and experience heaven, or you can have an inverted use of energy going against the universal law and experience hell on earth. And I'm sure we've all experienced both. Every person alive and breathing has experienced both heaven and hell. So the secret to reprogramming your subconscious mind is really the knowing that most of our beliefs and our programs, we don't really have any idea about. Most of it is set below ground level. If we look at the glacier, it would be the bottom part of that glacier that's hidden under the water. And above the surface would be that 3% that we actually see and we can kind of wrap our heads around, but there is so much that's set in the subconscious mind, and that's really what's running our life. The reasons why people are either unable to create what they want or are unable to create what they want, or they can create what they want, but they still feel unfulfilled. That's just because they haven't released the limiting beliefs and programming set in their subconscious mind. So let me give you an example. In my younger years, I had this overwhelming belief in my subconscious mind that I wasn't lovable. And so even though I desperately wanted to be and I tried to create loving relationships, I would always mess them up. They seemed to either go away or get really negative in nature, or they would just dissolve altogether. There was always something that happened because I had this underlying belief that I was not lovable. So even though I tried so hard, I couldn't obtain what I really wanted. And it wasn't until I went back into my subconscious and I reprogrammed it to tell the new story that I had massive results. If we think about like a faucet, right? If the spout of the faucet we can just look at as our body, and the water going through the faucet is like source streaming through us, spirit streaming through our being. If that filter on the tip of that water spout is all clogged up with all those calcium buildups and all those mineral buildups, that water can't flow freely through the spout, right? There's like a blockage. And that's exactly how it is with our mind and our subconscious mind, is that if we haven't removed those minerals, which is all the limiting beliefs, then we can't allow the spirit to freely flow through us. So there's really 3 ways to reprogram your subconscious mind. And the first way is by releasing limiting beliefs. Well, before you even release them, you have to find them. And that's what we do in this practice, is we find the limiting beliefs and then we release them. And the second way that we reprogram is through a daily spiritual practice. Meditation, prayer, these are powerful, powerful tools in releasing thought, right? If you think of your mind as like this program that's running constantly, think about it. We're just like on this constantly streaming thoughts. And our thoughts, for the most part, 95% of our thoughts are just kind of on autopilot because our body is so good at duplicating itself. When we create a habit, it's just because the body knows the programming so well that it automatically pulls up the same systems, right? And then the third way that we create is through affirmative spoken word. So these are affirmations that we speak over ourselves. Like for me, with the I'm not lovable one, I had to constantly confirm to myself how lovable I was, how worthy I was, how I embodied love. This was something I had to speak out loud and embody every single day in order to come back to the truth of who I am. So what we're really trying to do here is restore your true identity and your divine power. We are getting clear on your core values and passions and birth your purpose and leave your legacy on this earth. So what are your limiting beliefs? What are your limiting identities? Are you like me? Do you believe you're not lovable? Do you believe that you're not worthy of having money, of having love? What are the stuck points that you have in life? Where are the areas where you have desired something and it hasn't come through? That's a really good indicator of where your blockages are. We also have limiting identities. Like if you have a limiting identity around being lazy or being the good kid or being a people pleaser, all these identities that no longer serve you, because whenever you're doing things to please other people, how can you really step into your own purpose, your own power? So getting clear on your passions. What are your core values? What is it that you really value? What is it that's super important to you? What are you passionate about? What means so much to you? This is where we get to do a little deep dive into you as a person and your personal preferences, because your personal preferences are indicators of what you want, and what you want is very important. You came here to create. You came here to expand. You came here to embody your own personal truths. So what is it that you're passionate about? What is it that you want to create? What is it that you want to be? And this is where we come into birthing your purpose, because the life purpose formula is triumphs plus passion plus skill set equals purpose. So the things that you've been through, that you've come on the other side of, like I truly believe that we all came here in this lifetime for this particular time for overcoming certain obstacles. I believe that that was our plan from the beginning. I don't believe that it was ever negated when these roadblocks came up and these traumas and these circumstances came up. I don't believe that they're ever for no reason. So what have you triumphed from? What are your passions? What is your skill set? By knowing these three things, we can really come into knowing and understanding and embracing our life purpose. So let's start by talking about what your traumas are. Now, a trauma is just a high state of negative emotion. So it doesn't necessarily need to be, a car accident or like in a war situation, or it doesn't have to be this big thing. It is just a high state of negative emotion where we stamp a meaning on it. What are your traumas? And I think it's helpful to go from biggest to smallest, because it's easier to remember those big ones, and then go to the smallest ones. Like I had a really weird trauma. I didn't even know until I started getting into this work that I had a trauma around money, because after my father died, we all of a sudden had money where we didn't before. And the first day of Christmas after my father died, I woke up to all these presents under the tree that I had never experienced before. And for a split second, I was super happy. And then it dawned on me, I have all these gifts because my dad died. And that was stamped onto my subconscious that you have to lose someone you love in order to have more money. Now, I didn't know that until I started going through this work for myself, and I uncovered this limiting belief, and it wasn't even a big trauma. It was just this emotion and this meaning that I put on this event. So list out your traumas and try to get as deep as you can, because the more you uncover, the more realization you will have and the more transformation you'll have. And how committed are you to doing your inner work? How important is it for you to do the inner work in order for you to have what you want? How committed are you going to be? When things get difficult and when other priorities come up, how far up this list are you going to make it? Because I'm telling you, if you put it at the bottom, if you put yourself at the very bottom, then you're not going to be successful. You just won't. It goes against the law. So make sure you're really committing to the inner work that you're going to be doing, because it's going to feel intense at times. But I'm telling you, your breakthroughs will be so massive if you fully 100% commit to your process of inner healing. And what legacy do you want to leave in this lifetime on the planet? What legacy? Now, it's really helpful when you think about this in terms of what would you like people to say about you at your funeral? How would you like to be seen? How would you like to be remembered? What's the impact you want to make on this earth right now? Really think about this. Really dig into it, because it's a powerful realization. Take all the time you need to really ask yourself these deep, deep, deep questions, because I promise you, in all the answering of these questions, you will gain such rich insight to your limiting beliefs. Not everything is limiting beliefs. You have some really great ones in there too, but the limiting beliefs are holding you back from the things that you want in life. So as we uncover these, I want you to be so grateful as you get the insight to who you really, really are. Many blessings.